This weekend, huh?
Yeah,
Might open
fingers
up.
crossed. They keep changing their mind where the sun's going to be out. We got a close eye on it. As we all know, it changes. So we're considering the original forecast was Sunday to be kind of a crummy day, and we were considering whether we should move that day forward to Saturday. But we'll keep an eye on it and do what we need to do to try to get all 3 games in.
Will you try to reschedule? You got 2 openings now. Will you try to add a couple of 2 games to the schedule?
There's room for that. The good news is that we actually had 59 on our schedule because of Hawaii, and we could play as many as 60 because of Hawaii. We're playing 4 over there, and they don't count towards your 56. So we're not sitting there going, we have to get those 2 games we lost in. We would do that if it fit with somebody that we'd want to play, and then not stretch our pitching too thin to play 5 games or 2 midweek games, things like that we've done in the past that have, quite frankly, not been as productive as we wanted it to. So because we have 56 scheduled still, if we don't get any more rainouts, which is unusual for us, usually we get them in, as you know, we might just play 57 instead of trying to add 2.
So none of those Hawaii games. You get free. The four Hawaii ones don't count against your schedule, so you can go to 60 for that.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. So that's a real bonus this year, especially since we've lost a couple.
Yeah.
Had it been a normal year where we don't go to Hawaii, then we would have probably been looking very hard to try to make up 2 games.
How late could you add games? Say you got to a point where you said, "Hey, we might need a couple games." How late can you let that string
Up
out?
until the very last day of your conference schedule. So certainly you got to get the plans out there, and unfortunate this year that we only go to Southern California once. Sometimes you can piggyback and play on a Monday. We're already doing that when we play SC. We're playing Riverside on a Monday. So there's some teams down there actually that got rained out and they have games available, and Loyola is one of them, but they don't have any room to add another game. So we talked about maybe playing 4, but they've got a midweek game Tuesday. We don't. And so those are some of the conditions that you try to work around.
What kind of Loyola team do you think you'll see this weekend?
Well, it's one of my old colleagues, Jason Gill. I hired him to come up here, so obviously I have great respect for him. He's one of my all-time favorite player, assistant coaches, colleagues. They're always very competitive. We went 4 games with them last year, and they were all good games and tough games. And we had a curfew that popped up. We had to get on a plane, and we were holding on the last game of the series last year. So their personnel is different. Our personnel is different. What I do know is they're very well coached and will know each other very well, what we like to do. And so, as always, it'll come down to the athletes. And I expect them to be a team that operates in the top echelon of the WCC. And we feel really good at what we did against St. Mary's. I think St. Mary's will reveal itself as a contender in that conference, and they'll do some damage, I think, with the team that they have. They're scrappy and really good, I thought. I thought their starting pitching was excellent.
Do you know yet what your starting pitching will look like this weekend?
Yeah, we're going to start Nelson on Friday, Kafka on Saturday, and Stringer on Sunday. If we end up moving Sunday forward, then there's no stress on Cole, obviously, because he pitched last Friday. So.
What's your open status?
I knew that was going to be the next question. He won't be available this weekend. What's been determined is he was in the hospital. They were running tests. He had a couple small blood clots in his wrist that was causing the mild discomfort, and the medical people have given him medication, catheter, and the whole thing, where he was, as you know, clots when they're thrown can be dangerous. So he was under watch in the hospital, and they feel like they got the clots. He was released yesterday, and because of the dye that they put in to do the test and the wound through his groin on the catheter, he's going to be out for a week. Which day that the clock started, I'm not sure if it's Saturday or Sunday. And so we think that at first they said 3 to 5 days, and now it's closer to a week. I'm not sure exactly when he'll be released for physical activity. So the good news is it's not anything with his arm, and as soon as he works himself back up and gets cleared with the groin thing, we'll get him ready to pitch. And so that was a real blessing. We were sweating that one out. And it was just a mild hand problem, which is what we thought it was.
With Zavala, I'm not sure if pronounced his name exactly.
Zavala.
He done. Do you see this kind of a start coming, a kid like that, or not an unfair question?
Not my wildest dreams. I mean, to ask a freshman to be as good as he's been is pretty unrealistic. And did we think we had a tremendous player? Absolutely. 6A player of the year. His numbers in high school were unbelievable. Certainly a huge step from high school anywhere in the country to play Division I baseball. And we just look at one another right now after he gets hit after hit after hit, just kind of laugh. It's not supposed to be this easy. He's a tough kid. We're happy he's a Duck. He's got a very bright future. We've got to figure out, is he going to be a catcher? Is he going to be an outfielder? Is he going to be an infielder? So he's got to work to get a glove on the field. But offensively, he's been tremendous.
You take the bat and worry about the glove later.
Yeah, as they say, he'll play third in the batting order someday. He's waiting for his turn for some of the other guys like Steer and Matthews to move on, but boy, he sure looks good in the middle of our batting order, and he's making it look awfully easy, and hopefully it continues like that.
Do you like what you saw team-wise this weekend?
Yeah, I think we're striking out too much. If we're hitting the ball over the fence, some of those guys once every 3 games, and maybe that's the analytic or the metrics that people are using now and so forth. And certainly PK Park's not a home run park, so especially under wet conditions, it's harder to play defense when it's wet for anybody, even the Northwest teams. And I'd like to see us put the ball in play a little more consistently. I thought St. Mary's pitching was very competitive, and as you probably saw, some of the balls that we got into, Goldfarb's ball off the wall, Spence hit a few. We've hit some balls hard that under different conditions would have been a home run or a double, and they ended up being outs, really. Spencer's ball got caught, and so the ball reacts here, especially early when it's wet like that. But the quality of our bats continues to be good, except for the strikeouts, and I like what our offense is doing right now. I think it's in a good place, and hopefully we can get some of that relief pitching more consistent. I guess would be the best way to say it.
A lot of production at the bottom half of the order, particularly on Saturday with Frankie and Tanner getting some RBIs. How the other freshmen besides Zavala stepped up? Yeah,
I mean, Zavala hitting 6th or whatever, that's pretty high up. And Nowitzki leading off, so we got 2 freshmen playing prominent roles there. And you're right, we've gotten a lot of production out of the bottom part of our order with Smith and Foxcroft early, and then he kind of fell off a little bit. But Fromke stepped in when Max couldn't go on Saturday and did a nice job offensively. So, like I told you, we think we're pretty deep in position players, and the freshmen that have been getting an opportunity, position player-wise, have been in character. The other thing that I've seen bright spots in the freshman Shiftelli, and Keaton Chase certainly said, "Hey, look at me! He's got a little moxie on the mound, likes to be out there, and he believes in himself, and I think he could bring some things to the table. And we just need some of the other freshmen that we believe in to do what they're capable of doing, so we can make our pitching staff deeper without Kenyon until he comes back."
And for Cole, after Friday's start, kind of where is he at now after not pitching for a really long time? Like, where is he at right now with the team, kind of with you, and how he stands so far? Like, is he feeling okay, or is there? Well,
he was in the mix to be one of the 3 weekend starters initially. Was scheduled to be the 4th guy on the first weekend, and we got colded out in Texas. So he's still in there. He's going on Sunday. Now when Kenyon comes back into the mix, Kenyon's an All-American, and his track record speaks for itself. So it might be a nice luxury. I know Cole wants to stay in the weekend rotation. His stuff is probably more conducive to starting rather than being a relief guy. in a perfect scenario, we have enough quality starts for league when we go 3-game weekend series that we might entertain the thought of putting Nelson or Kenyon back in the bullpen. That's just speculative, and probably Nelly more than Kenyon because he's most recently done that. Kenyon's earned the right to be called our Friday starter until he pitches himself out of that. So once he's back and ready to go on the first game of a series, maybe Nelson ends up being our closer again. Who knows? But nice luxury to have that, to have a guy like that you could do either one with.